And ask each of the three of you, if there was one thing that, we're talking about education, we're talking about language, talk about tax code. If you identify one thing that from your own personal kind of priority list, what do you think would make the biggest difference?
Community. I know that sounds really woolly, but I think thinking about everything in individualistic terms is really, really difficult for people. I think we're naturally quite communitarian, and I think that if we can kind of build really good social networks around these kind of things. I mean, we see the power of social networking in a very kind of...
The power to some extent, but I mean, I put on a gig, I've got 7,000 Twitter followers. I mentioned I've got a gig on Twitter, and maybe 3 people from Twitter show up.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's
the
way.
So I'm not sure, and you can say, climate change, retweet with hashtag climate change. And I'm not sure that anything actually makes a difference, except a few servers in China run a bit faster and burn a few bit more coal in the process.
I don't mean social networking in those
Okay,
terms. I mean
sorry,
like a much more holistic... community building thing. I think that's what Brendan has done here. Is to build a real community around a common good.
So I get that.
I think I would go with the tax code, because we have an entire system and a whole corporate system that is zeroed in on, with amazing accountants and lawyers, on how do we maximize profits. And if you just tie into that existing incredibly complex thing that people are really... I mean, money is an amazing invention. Money isn't real. It's just something we invented. And it's in the way God works. It only works if you believe in it. If everyone stopped believing in money tomorrow, it's only paper. It wouldn't have any value. But everyone believes in it. So because we have that existing structure, and someday we'll realise it's not real and money can't be eaten and we're fecked. But that's a long way away. As long as we still have that structure and we all believe that that's real, if we could radically rebalance the tax code and the financial system so that it's about environmental conservation, I think all kinds of creative people who want to make money and make profits and work in corporations and do things and would just change their behaviour. And I think that's the best single shot we have.
Well, I'm an environmental economist, so naturally. But I think the other side of it is values. And the introduction of serious tax change, for example, will require a change in values, because we have to kind of convince ourselves that this is what we should do, and then structure things so that the evidence seems to show that about 15% of people will do the right thing regardless of the incentives, but the other 85% need to be kind of pushed along.
And you know who we get values from? Community. Oh my God, it all fits together. Go team!
Are we high-fiving? This is so awkward.
We're in the zone, right?
We're in the zone, yeah. And that's a wrap. Hey, we're leaders. Take notes, thank you.
Frank, do you
my work here is done.
I mean, maybe has taken a very kind of extreme version of that. Do you think that the tax code is the solution? I mean, I would be sceptical that it is, and it involves privileging environment above any of our other values, and lots of our other values are good.
Well, the tax code is a reflection of our values, so you can't separate them. The tax code you get is what the society said, we think this is important and this is not important. I think, but it has to be in the sense that, the Irish Carbon Tax is an interesting case. I just happen to be looking at it at the moment. But the farmers, for example, managed to get themselves extricated for most of it in the new government. So it gets nibbled away because there isn't a general value. Look, this is important to say. The climate is important. If you're going to use it up, you have to pay for it. If as a society we bought into that as a value, then you say, okay, well, what's the best way of doing it? Then tax becomes the logical way to do it. So you have to have, like the Nordics, for example, they do what you're talking about, more or less. And the outcomes are what they, but it comes from values and habits. I mean, we were talking about design. And you need to have a reflex, that... My reflex, we were talking about brushing your teeth. You don't think every morning, is this a good thing to do? You just kind of do it.